I've met a lot of employer branders. I've met a lot of employer branders, and there's one thing they all have in common. They all have so many resources they don't know. I'm sorry. I can't get through that sentence myself. No, of course, no one feels like they have enough resources or great resources or enough resources to do the job. Everybody feels deeply constrained about what they're allowed to do because they don't have the budget, they don't have the authority, they can't do what they want to do. Well, I'm here to tell you a little story. So this is a little bit of a longer episode, but I'm going to tell you a story about how I built an employer brand for a global company for $400. Yeah, I'm going to give you the step-by-steps of what I did and the lessons involved. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button. That way you'll stay up to date whenever I put new content out. If you're not watching this on YouTube and you found this useful, share it, give it to another employer brander, give it to a recruiter, give it to someone in HR. Let them know that they can build an employer brand without spending a bucket of cash. Okay, so the employer brand. Now, here's the thing. The lessons employer brand, the things that I've always brought to the table is this sense that it's not about the budget. The budget doesn't determine the strategy. It has an impact on the strategy, certainly, but it doesn't determine the strategy. Great employer branders are usually really good generalists. They bring something to the party. Maybe you bring writing. Maybe you bring graphic design. Maybe you bring a sense of politics and how organizations work. Maybe it's a little bit of web design skills. Maybe it's a little bit, I don't know. You bring something to the table. Use it. Everywhere you go, whatever employer brand you have access to, whatever you're running, you have resources at your disposal. They just may not be listed as budget lines in your budget. So let me tell you the story of Groupon. Now, you all, maybe not all of you, but Groupon was a pretty big company. When I showed up, it was not at its peak. It had come down a bit from its big kind of like, oh my gosh, this is an amazing unicorn company. And it was sitting on 16 countries. They had almost a couple thousand people. I think I'm not allowed to say how much. It doesn't really matter. A couple thousand people across 16 countries. Good sized company, right? A good sized company. And I needed to extend that employer brand. There are places where either you knew about Groupon and you've kind of decided, okay, they're past their peak, I'm not interested in working for them, or what's a Groupon? Those were the two choices. Most of our audience were sitting in those buckets. And to be fair, there was another audience of people who were very excited to work for Groupon, and I don't think I needed to worry about them. They were doing a great job on their own. So in order to get these two audiences to learn about the company and learn about the culture and what we were doing, I figured, well, what do we have access to? And I had no money. I literally had a budget of zero. Occasionally, my boss would approve some credit card purchases, which was fine. And I said, okay, what can I do? Now, it's an internet company, so it has internet stuff around it. They had some coders in the office, obviously, in fact, a couple hundred of them, but they're busy building, money-driving platforms, right? They were busy doing revenue-generating stuff, and I knew pulling them away from that to do my little goofy thing, they were not going to be interested in, or certainly their bosses would not be interested in. So what I did have access to was some hosting, meaning some web space. Place where if I stuck a website, people could find it. We had access to the domain, right? I had a friend who, and I made a lot of friends in this process. By the way, that's a key part. I don't think I underlined this. I made friends with everybody I could. I had a friend who owned the domain and figured out how to add a people.groupon to that. It's called a third level or a tertiary domain. It's the something dot your major domain. He set that up. Someone gave me access to the web platform, so we uploaded WordPress, which is free. By the way, if you don't know WordPress, at the time, it ran like a quarter of all internet web pages, or at least it was responsible for like a quarter of all the internet traffic, right? It hosted by like massive companies and small little blogs and everything in between, like a lot of stuff. It's gotten a little different now, but this was a couple years ago. But WordPress was free. Here's the software, have fun. And you installed it. And then I played with it. I tinkered with it. I spent $100 for an add-on to kind of make the templates a certain way, to look a certain way. So there's $100. I can get my boss to justify a $100 spend, right? Not a big deal. And I designed this blog. Now it didn't look like a blog. I wanted it to not look like a blog, but every single, what would have been a blog post was a profile. And I was planning on profiling as many people in the staff as I could. My theory was the brand itself, the logo, not much of a draw. The people, They're great. They're fantastic. They had amazing stories. And if I could tell their stories and I could put that in front of people, I could make these people-shaped holes or doors in the brand, and people would go in and go, oh, that person sounds and acts like me. That sounds really interesting. I want to learn more. And there you go. I've done my job. So I needed to make all these profiles. Now, I could have said, how do I, let's see, I'm going to run a big program. I'm going to do some advocacy stuff. I'm going to ask people to, no, I made it super simple. I found the 10 people I knew would listen to me because they were friendly and they helped me with other stuff before. And I said, hey, could you fill out this form? It's a Google form, which, by the way, is free. And ask a bunch of questions. And if there's a question you don't want to answer, don't answer it. Just skip it, whatever, and take a couple of days to answer it. And it's like 15 questions. Of the 10 people I asked, not surprisingly, 5 ignored me. Whatever, no big deal. Of the 5 people who did complete the survey, 3 didn't give good responses. Like they were kind of phoning it in and they didn't really care. I'm like, okay, whatever. But I got 2 great responses. And I went back to them. I said, hey, can I take your picture? And can you send me like 2 or 3 photos from your phone of you that you like that are kind of fun? Because this is a fun company and we want to show off the fun a little bit. It doesn't have to be branded, but hey, no booze. How about that? You know, nothing illegal, obviously. Simple. Shot me some photos. I stuck them on the profile. I posted the profiles and I said, here's your page. I made you a profile. They went and said, oh, wow. And they stuck it on Facebook and they showed it to their friends at work. And suddenly people were like, wait. Why are they profiling you? Who's profiling you? Why aren't they profiling me? I have a person I think they should profile who's great. Who do I talk to get that person to get profiled? Now, the first 10 people I sent it to, remember I said there were 3 people who filled out the profile who didn't do a great job? Well, once they saw the profile, I sent them the form again. I said, hey, do you want to take another shot at this? And 2 of them said yes, and they filled it out, and I suddenly have 4 profiles. And now that I have 4 profiles, people are sharing them. They're sharing them on Facebook. They're sharing them on Twitter. We're pointing to them internally. Now I have suddenly more people want to play, and they all want to be engaged. And how hard is this? Well, here's the Google form. Again, it's free. They write their responses. I just clean them up and I said, hey, AJ, you did so much of this work. I got to say, hey, clean up the responses, just tighten up the language a little bit. I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I want their authentic responses. Grab them, stick them in the template in that blog posts I had set up because I knew what the questions were going to be and I knew what the responses were going to be. So I designed it to capture that information. Built those pages, published them. And that started to get a little bit of a flywheel effect. And suddenly, other countries were like, hey, I heard you got this program where you're making all these profiles in the US. Why aren't you doing them in France and Spain and England and Australia and wherever, right? Pick a country. And I said, well, gosh, I'm not excluding you, so here's the form. And they would take the form and they would pass it around their country office, and I would suddenly get 10 or 15 responses. And half of them were great, and half of them were not, but that's okay. The best part about it, the ones that were great, suddenly instant content, scrape it, clean it, throw it on the page, publish, you're done. The ones that weren't great, hey, here's your responses. Could you take another shot at this? Like, especially, I think this is a really interesting story you could be telling. Can you flesh this out a bit? Great. Suddenly, execs are noticing. And the best part there is they say, well, some execs take 2 different tacks. They say either, hey, I've got a couple of people who really deserve like a mention here, who really need to be profiled because they're just amazing employees and I want them to feel like we appreciate them. And some execs are like, how do I get a profile, right? Takes all kinds, whatever. And suddenly this little goofy thing that I have spent literally $100 on is now this massive reward that leaders are saying, hey, if you do a good job, I'll get your profile on this site. Now I hand it to recruiters and say, hey, I got a profile of a product manager. If you're trying to hire a product manager who's a woman, I have a woman product manager profile. Hand it to them, and maybe they'll say, oh, wow, you really seem to engage with women. You really seem to care about women's issues. You seem to hire a lot of women. Wow, I'm suddenly really interested. We didn't have to say, hey, we care about women. We simply shared them a profile of a woman. Now, once you build kind of a critical mass of these posts, WordPress is super cool because it would say, we could tag each post. We could say, okay, this post is from someone from Ireland who is in this team, who is in this ERG and is an award winner. Great. And I could actually say on the homepage, oh, wow, it's International Women's History Month. Change the homepage so it only shows women. What? It's February. We're talking about Black History Month, fantastic. I'm going to change the tag. So suddenly it's almost all black employees on the homepage. We never have to say, hey, look, it's Black History Month. We just happen to have a lot of black faces on the front page of the site. Just like we happen to have a lot of gay people on the site in June. It's just, we don't have to point to it. We don't have to make a big deal. We're living it. We don't have to shout it, right? So the other piece of this puzzle here, which I talk about it, when I do this, is that I did actually spend a little bit of money, and I spent them on stickers. Why? Because people love stickers, and I don't know what it's about stickers. I like stickers. I mean, I'm a really old adult, and I'm like, oh, cool, a sticker. I want to stick it on my laptop sleeve, right? Everybody loves stickers. So I bought a small lot of stickers, maybe 50, 60 bucks worth of stickers, a couple hundred stickers. And for people who made profiles, I gave them a sticker. What was on the sticker? The hashtag for the tagline. Hi, how you doing? Keep it going. It's all flywheel material. You keep the flywheel moving. After I ran out of that run of stickers, and I thanked everybody for being on the profile and being a great, ally in this project, I bought another lot of stickers that were different. Suddenly it's season 2. Suddenly it's the springtime version. Suddenly it's the gay pride flag, version of the sticker. Suddenly it's the sustainability version of the sticker. Suddenly it's the whatever. Lots of different versions of these stickers, and they become seasonal. Now people are like, I got the old one. I want the new one. Great. Help me find someone to take this profile. And it becomes more of a flywheel. The incentive for them monetarily was nothing. I mean, we're talking like 10, 15 cents a sticker, right? That's what's a unit cost on a lot of stickers. Not much. But they were excited. They slapped the sticker on their laptop. They showed it around. People saw it. They were really excited. Flywheel, flywheel, flywheel. Now, couple lessons from this. One is the first obvious one. Work with what you got. You have resources on the ground. You just have to be creative with how you use it. You have amazing computing power. You've got your phone with an amazing camera and a video camera. I should know, I'm recording all these videos on my phone. You've got a laptop. You've got access to tools. You've got people around you who are good at things, right? I've run into so many amateur videographers in my process, and some of them are amazing, and it's fantastic. And there's amateur photographers, and some people want to help write some copy, and everybody wants to help. People love to help. The other lesson here, oh, I lost it. The other lesson here is success begets success. Suddenly, I had 100,000 people looking at this site in a year. I didn't advertise it. I simply let people talk about it. I said simply profile these amazing employees and said, hey, it would be great if you shared it. And they all did. And people would find it. And then Google found it. And then suddenly recruiters were sharing it. And it just kind of ramped up and got 100,000 views in a year, which is really nothing, right? That's a thing. You would love 100,000 views to a site of nothing but employee profiles, right? You'd love that. And especially if you didn't have to spend much money for it. Absolutely. Now, having done that, I do a little victory lap. I say, hey, everybody, look, 100,000 views. I only spent $400 on it. And they said, wow, what would he do with $400,000? Suddenly, I don't feel as strapped for resources, right? Prove that you can do amazing work for a little resource. They will eventually show up and say, what can you do with more? You want to get more resources? Show them what you can do with what you have. So right now, you are faced with constraints. Look around. What do you have access to? What do you have that other companies don't have? Right? You think of Amazon and you think of, how many metric square feet of billboard space does Amazon have once you include all their boxes? Huh? Right? Or their tape, the tape they use to wrap their boxes. Amazon, I get my groceries from an Amazon service. They have branded bags, but they have a lot of non-branded bags. I can't imagine why. That's amazing real estate. That's amazing advertising real estate. They had to buy those bags anyway. They had to print their logo on them anyway. Why not put one of your messages on it too, on 1 out of 10 bags? Why not? It doesn't cost anything. What are the resources you have access to? What can you take advantage of? Where can you learn some basic skills? And by the way, learning how to do things like make a website and make a series of videos, I didn't know how to do some of that stuff. I just figured it out. And trust me, my first attempts were really rough, right? My first videos like this, rough. They've gotten a little slicker. I've learned how to tighten things up. I've learned a little more video editing. I've learned a little production, right? I've learned to light myself so I don't look like a total hag all the time, right? I can only do so much with this, but hey, I'm doing what I can. Look, you have resources at your disposal. You have them everywhere if you just look for them, if you just ask people who can help me with this. So much of employer branding is about generating advocacy, generating excitement around what you have to offer and what the company has to offer. So do it. Get that excitement, ask people to be a part of it, and they will show up. And with that, you can build a much better brand, a strong brand, something you can really be proud of. Thanks so much for listening. I know it's not been quite the employer brand minute this time. This is a very long one. Wow, yeah, I guess it has been. But I really appreciate it. As always, keep watching the videos, keep subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Bye.